Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-hosts, Jen Isgro, Tom Kakoza, and the fantastically forecasted Brendan T. Johnston. How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. So I saw online today that there was a recall on an item that I purchased and already consumed from Costco in its entirety. So hope I'm not getting whatever it's like listeria poisoning or something. I think I'm probably okay because I ate it a while ago.
You should make sure not to tell our large audience what it is, because that certainly couldn't help anybody.
I think it's El Monterey chicken and cheese taquitos. But if you purchase them between like June and I think like now or something. So I definitely have purchased them and eaten the entire box. So there you go. I think I'm okay though. I'm still alive so far.
We'll find out. Tune in next time to find out if Jen's still alive. Tom, how are you?
Jesus.
Joe, I don't have listeria and I am great. I'm really, really good because I saw the Mets at the brink of elimination just minutes ago, stave it off. And really, I don't want to say anything, but they're really set up to at least bring it to a game 7 because they're going their best starter versus the Dodgers bullpen in game 6. So very, very excited. We've got tickets to watch game 6 at Citi Field, even though they're playing in Los Angeles again. So nice. I may call out on Monday. We'll see how it goes.
How do you just buy those? They're like
they're like they're $10 tickets and free parking. It all goes to charity. So
you can like sit wherever you want, or how does it work?
They're tickets. They're seats.
Seats.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they only offer seats. Like they started out small, and then as the demand goes, they fill more and more of it.
So do they like it's on the Jumbotron?
You're just watching Fox, or whatever channel is on. You're just watching it like it's on TV, which is like
fun though.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes nuts, and whatever, there's concessions and all the rest of that stuff. It was weird. I think I mentioned this, but I'm not sure. Like, it's Fox, and so there's commercials, and it's a national feed. So there's a lot of like presidential election commercials on there. So this whole crowd ready to kill and die for the New York Mets, all on the same page. Any election commercial comes on, half the crowd's booing, the other half is cheering. So it's very interesting, and then everyone has to like get back into the right mentality for gameplay. So that's all right.
Brendan, how are you doing today?
Good, Joe. Looking forward to our discussion. I took my notes this week on the notes app on my phone. Because when I started watching the episodes, my notebook was on the other side of the room, and the dog was sleeping right next to me, and that's a very delicate ecosystem. So I couldn't get up and get it. So that's what passes for interesting in my day.
There's no other parts of that story.
No, there's no other part of it. I'm curious to see. I don't know if I took more notes or fewer notes or what, but we'll see.
Chat thought you were going to tell a story about how your dog ate your notes.
No. He did perk up or wake up slightly every time there was a dog barking on the show, which happened a lot. Hopper was losing his shit for a little bit. So. But then he went right back to sleep.
Your dog is actually the name of your dog is a character in the Wheel of Time, by the way.
Not yet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
not yet in the show, but yes.
Brendan's dog's name is Grady. There is a character.
He is named for a different character from a much different book.
Yes. I will say this is day one of New York Comic Con, and no, there hasn't been anything about the Wheel of Time. We don't expect anything to be about the Wheel of Time because they never said that anybody was going to be there, and there was no panels, and there's no, nothing. So
I actually went today for a little bit.
Oh, you did?
I had tickets for Friday just in case. And so I went by, and then only as there's very little person. There are people from Prime Video shows that are appearing there. So special guests or whatever. But there's not even there's no big banners. It's very little presence from Prime. at NYCC.
Well, Danny in chat saying Nyosha said he was going to be in New York this weekend.
It's true.
Maybe he's going to be making a surprise appearance. I don't think that
literally
doesn't make any sense, but
I was kind of, I'm sure, creepy to everyone else because I was just looking on the floor to see if there was anybody just walking the floor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The last time I went to New York Comic Con, it was many, many years ago. And I very distinctly remember seeing a big banner outside of a hall for a panel about the Showtime show Nurse Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to someone, probably said to you, Tom, in fact, I'm sure it was you. I turned to you and I said, I think they've lost sight of what they're supposed to be doing here. I think I'm done.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. I haven't, that was the last time I had gone until we went back for the show. But yeah, it's not, and like, there's so little comics stuff there.
I'm sure.
Whatever. It's fine.
We are about to dive into the penultimate episode of season 2, dae'mar. Are you guys ready? You ready to talk about this episode? I got a lot to say about this episode. And I'm not going to try not to say things I said last time, but
okay.
Cold open. We actually have a real cold open.
Yes.
Right, this is a flashback 20 years ago. Moraine and Swan are young Aes Sedai. I should say young Aes Sedai. Should probably question mark both of those.
Young Aes Sedai?
Young Aes Sedai?
Yeah. They're already talking about retirement. There's a reference to the little love shack that they wind up seeing in the first season. And then they go in to talk to another old cloudy-eyed Aes Sedai. How it was jarring for me because I forgot that they like knock on the door, and then like I guess when they go in, it's just a close-up of her clouded eyes, and I was like, that's a little creepy way to like introduce her, but
she's blind, Joe.
no, I know that, but it was just her eyes on the screen, like a close-up of them. And then it cuts out, and then they're having like a normal, or starts off as a normal conversation.
That's what I was going to ask. Is she blind, or is that what her eyes do when she has a vision?
She's blind.
She's blind.
Okay.
Yeah, she is blind. Not that it really matters, but yeah, she is blind.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So she has this vision of the dragon being reborn, and we see some of the cutting in of scenes from episode 7 of the first season of The Wheel of Time with the blood snow and the baby and all of that.
I have a question about the prophecy because I thought about this when I was like halfway through the episode and I didn't feel like rewinding it. What does anyone know exactly what she says?
I don't know.
The dragon is born again.
And cries on something.
You say he cries? That's what's in the book.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know what. Yeah.
I don't know either. And I was too lazy to go back and look because if she says he cries, then obviously.
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe they don't say that. Maybe that's just from the books. Did they screw that up?
She said something like the thunder. She said that part. I remember that she said like he cries like somebody or something or someone cries like the thunder. Yeah.
Does anyone in chat remember exactly? I might check after the show, but they might have screwed that up. But
yeah, this is something we should have. Asked us before we did it. So we check.
I didn't think of it.
Or you should have just checked.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like it.
Sorry. We'll fix it in post.
Prime is hard to work with.
Yeah, if she says he cries, then that doesn't make sense because then Moraine would know it was a boy.
Somebody in chat, just pull it up quick.
Yeah, maybe she said it cries. Maybe she said it cries.
Yes, listeners, please do our work for us.
Come on, you're all sitting at home. Just pull it up quick.
They
take
cry?
2 seconds.
Maybe she says they cry. I don't remember now. We'd have to go check it out.
Even if she does say he cries, you can explain that away. It's like, well, the last dragon was male, so the soul is male. Whether it's reincarnated in a male or female body, that's not what she was talking about.
But
she was talking about Luz Theron.
Isn't she also seeing the baby be born? Like literally physically seeing it.
She's not. The baby is like, yeah, but like one, I don't know if the vision is like
right.
visual. Like, I don't think she's got a camera over it.
Yeah, she's
And,
not
like,
seeing right.
Yeah, in the book,
soldier man, can you please just spread the legs apart so I can tell? Right.
In the books, it's not a vision. It's just they just get this, I guess.
It's not like they have pens and paper or a recorder and they're dictating. Like, also, like, look, the dragon's born. Like, we got that part. That's the important thing.
Tom, I'm sorry. They definitely have pens and paper. We did a whole week on this.
Oh, Gabe watched it. Gabe, I was about to do it myself.
That's true.
Let's see. The moment of truth.
The baby lies.
Baby. It. She does say it.
It burns like the sun.
How rude. The baby lies in the snow.
Skeeter in
all
chat.
Fools.
Guys, she's blind. She doesn't see visions. Great, Skeeter. Good call.
Thank you, Skeeter, for always bringing us back where we belong.
Okay.
So they did a good job. They did a good job in covering that up and not putting he. Somebody must have caught that in the.
And we did a great job about talking about a problem that didn't exist.
I just wasn't sure. I was asking.
I was going to move on to this. I have a note in here that Rosamund and Sofia Canedo are face acting the hell out of this scene, because after. Do you notice after like she has the vision, it just cuts back and forth between the two of them, and they don't say anything. They're just like really, really expressing with their face.
This is another example of something the show has been doing, or at least something that I've been saying about the show the whole time. Moraine is in a different, better show than the rest of the cast of characters. Like this. Yeah, you're right, because they're all acting the hell out of it. It's only 3 people in the scene. It's the first time there's only been 3 people in the scene in the tower, and Joe hasn't lost his mind about it. That's how good.
Well, this is even after Haley Mills or Katara is like dead or done. It's just then the two of them looking at each other, Swan and Moraine looking at each other, and it's such great. I don't know. They're just doing a hell of it. They're face acting the hell out of it. That's all I can describe.
They're both very good. At acting.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's also like it's a scene, it's not immediately obvious, but watching it again, it is a scene about how Moraine and Swan are doomed from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like how and
as we see by the end of this episode. We'll get into that.
This is a rewatch, so I feel like we don't have to like we could just talk about certain things. Yes, I think it's we talked about it a little bit in the episode, but we were more like I think in our feelings about the episode when we first watched it. Yeah, this is just crafted very well in regards to like, you know, setup, premise, like, and then payoff all in one thing.
Do you realize we've gotten now each season we've gotten like a Swan and Moraine focused episode? Like this is the second episode in the series, right? That kind of.
I mean, it's less focused on them. It's an important relationship for the show. Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but I would not call this a Swan and Moraine focused episode because a lot happens in this episode.
It does, but I feel like they get a lot of the story. The overarching story in this episode is their relationship, though, and Rand obviously and Lan fitting into that.
Well, Rand's part of it.
Yeah,
Rand's part of their whole story,
and so is Lan. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're like to a certain.
The 4 of them take up a lot of FaceTime in this episode.
Right. Rand, his existence is what destroys their relationship, right? Before they even know who he is.
I'm just gonna blame
before they know.
Rand.
Look, it's his job. He's got to take the blame.
They have a conversation right before this. That's kind of like
right.
I'm gonna be.
Would it work out?
Yeah, we don't know.
Rand's the match. He's not the gasoline.
True. That's it.
I feel like, like maybe they would have broke up way earlier if they weren't working together for 20 years.
They were staying together for the kids. They were staying together
for the kids.
Yeah, and they didn't really see each other much in those 20 years.
So it was like we'll write each other letters and we'll just like meet up once in a while, and that's it.
Like Moraine didn't bring her that little magical cupboard where she can visit Swan, right? I'm surprised. Like I assume she would have traveled with that little thing if she could have.
No, that's part of her room, isn't it?
It looks like it's just like hanging on the wall.
Yeah, I think the painting is
painting. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't travel with it. To be honest, maybe it's not movable. Let's do all the Kyrian stuff last because obviously that's where all the real story happens and so much of it. So, you want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Falm first?
Sure.
Falm first.
Sure.
Okay. We've got Nynaeve and Elaine. I didn't notice this the first time, and I feel like I hate when I say that because I say it at least twice an episode.
That's why we're doing this.
Elaine, right? Elaine is like wondering why the people of Falm didn't fight back against the Seanchan, and that's like a callback to Atuan's Mill, with like the innkeepers telling Perrin how the Seanchan were much better than the White Cloaks, and like the Seanchan weren't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what they're saying. So, right, the Seanchan aren't there to like kill everybody. They're there to kind of just become the leaders.
Everyone.
Yeah, and become their leaders. Like you guys, just follow our rules. They're not terribly bad. We're not terribly bad people, except we enslave women who could channel.
But you probably aren't one of those. It's fine.
Yeah, just live your life. Just Brendan, in the books, like they talk about how like the Seanchan come to these places, like a place like Falm or some other place, which is kind of like a shithole and crime ridden. And when the Seanchan come, they stop all the crime, and it's the city becomes safer and a little bit more prosperous. So
trains run on time, that sort of thing.
Exactly, that sort of thing.
Right, like North Korea.
Oh, good, because you guys, of course, know how much I love learning more about the Seanchan.
Yeah. Well, they're not in this episode too much, but we'll get to them in a minute. And
do we have to?
Yeah, that's not very. Yes. It's not very much. Yeah, I mean the Nynaeve and Elaine stuff. I'm just still loving every minute of this. I still love it. It's great. I want like whole episodes dedicated to just the two of them. I want a buddy cop movie with the two of them. I love their interaction and the way they play off each other.
It comes so close to veering into outright comedy.
Yes.
And like a lot of what they're doing is so stupid, but they're so charming together. It just makes it work.
Well, I mean, they've got a plan. Well, Elaine says, I've got a plan, right? So the plan is to first make contact with Loyal to find out where Egwene is, which succeeds, and we get that great scene with the two.
My favorite scene in the season.
Yeah.
Really?
Love that. I just love her face. Like
she's like, finally, someone's giving me what I'm supposed to get.
So good.
Yeah.
It's just perfect.
And Nynaeve's so disgusted.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes, it sings in your ears. Come on.
The just on the, I don't know, Brendan alluded to the silliness almost of their escapades, and in a different way, because I know this is not what you mean when you say like that Moraine is in a different show. You mean kind of Rosamund's in a different show, right? But this is very much like a second level character quest that they're on. Like here are the high level characters doing their thing, and like we're leveling up and we're on an adventure, and like that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So it is I think almost intentionally like not the same stakes as what some of the other characters are dealing with.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to save their friend, and Moraine's trying to save the world.
And who is trying to save the cheerleader?
I understand that, like, in real life, you don't always do what you say you're going to do. But on a TV, like with Nynaeve telling Loyal, like, we'll rescue you. like, I swear we will. And then like that doesn't even come close to happening. Like, it's just,
Well,
I don't know, it's weird. Like, there's a lot of like not paid off things in this storyline. And like,
Loyal rescues himself.
Right. He gets, it's not that he doesn't get rescued. It's just that like, I feel like
he escapes. He doesn't need to get rescued. Really, he's fine.
He's not really a prisoner either.
And it's not like it's not like she didn't, like, she's just like, I'm not gonna do that. They get shot and then they don't get a chance to.
I know.
Next time they see him, he's okay.
Like the fault of Nynaeve. I feel like it's the fault of like the show.
Well, I think
it doesn't like finish that for me. I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I think it's not. I think the purpose is just to like not to see that through. I think it's more of how Nynaeve, how she thinks and how she puts others before her and is very loyal and like. Sorry, didn't mean the pun, but yeah, like she's going to do that. Like she's going to try her hardest to do something like that. Like she's not just going to leave you behind. If she says, I'm going to rescue you. Right, I'm going to do everything I can to rescue you.
Okay. I think it's just anger at like this, what happens to them in the last episode.
Yeah. I feel like this is something we just talk about.
It's almost like, we don't know what they're like in the way and we have nothing for them to do right now. So we're just going to like place them over here for half the episode lying on the ground. So
right, we can talk about that.
I know, but that's like part of, yeah. All right. Sorry.
So the plan is to capture a Soldam, right? And then put the collar on her. And I guess they're going to dress up and infiltrate the pens because Loyal says like, they don't let anyone near the pens unless you're a Soldam. So that's their plan. And I mean, they execute that part of the plan.
Yeah.
They throw a little bit of their own head trauma on someone else.
That's it. Yeah. More blood force trauma to the head in this episode.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because they already had the collar on her.
Yeah, but she could scream.
And Nynaeve has the bracelet on her. And Elaine just hits her anyway.
The plan is...
She can scream.
The plan is just one step up from, hey, your shoe's untied. Like they distract her. Like they talk about how, I made a note about this. Like Elaine says, like, what do you think? How do you think it's going to feel when we put it on her? And Nynaeve says something to the effect of, I don't know, but I hope it really hurts. And first of all, yikes. Second of all,
your friend has it on.
The second part of your plan is to hit her in the face with a big piece of wood. She's going to get hurt no matter what.
I kind of feel like Elaine didn't tell Nynaeve about that part of the plan.
Well, also,
she just like came behind her with a stick and hit her.
Also, when Nynaeve says good, I hope it's painful. That's your friend has one of those on. You don't want to hope it's painful because your.
Well, I think she's saying I want
to.
Right. Maybe it's just like she's trying to fulfill the desire. She's like, well, if you want it to hurt, I'm just gonna take a piece of stove wood, just bop her.
I just thought it was comical a bit.
It is literally
comical.
It is literally like it is like
it's
right
cartoonish.
On the edge of like
yes.
But
we've already established they lean heavily into the knocking people out because it happens again in this episode with another character.
It is 2 concussions at least in this episode, if not more.
I think I think the first time around when we watched these, you had a concussion count going somewhere.
In one episode, I had a vomiting count. There were 2 vomits.
That's right.
I don't remember if I had a concussion.
The last episode.
Count. Yeah.
We've got Egwene who's training as a dae'mar. She shows off her stuff by basically I don't know, out air blasting the other dae'mar. Yeah, that's basically what we get. And then we get a scene with her and Rena.
So sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. I was looking at my notes. This is the scene, and it was it, and it still is it. Where I think Rena has a crush on Egwene, and I'm sticking by that. I don't care what any of you say. Egwene says she's gonna kill Rena.
I I think didn't Madeline say that they were like playing like along that line a little bit in that scene?
Did I
don't know if it was her who said it or I heard it from somebody. Or maybe it could have been Zelia that said it in another interview. I remember hearing one of them say like they were like playing along that line, but it doesn't make any sense for her to have a crush on her because she's like not a human being to her.
We were so close to out of it.
So I don't. We're not even talking about the Sean Chen. This is a completely separate issue.
Is it?
I mean, whatever. Whatever.
What? This is, I don't know.
I thought you just didn't like the soldiers. You don't like any of them?
No. I find the entire Shanshan plot line, subplots, whatever you want to call them, unentertaining to watch.
All right.
Just nails on a chalkboard for me. But I specifically meant Joe's thing about Rena having feelings for Egwene. Because like Joe brought it up and all three of us were silent the first time in 20 years. And I thought we were in the clear, but I guess not.
No. Well, we also learn a little bit about the Sean Chen, why they're there. They're there to unite the entire world to fight the last battle. So there's some background there. And Egwene's braiding her hair, right? She says she's going to kill Rena. So, which, I mean, she does. We all know that she does kill Rena in the next episode. What I thought it was interesting was like the last episode ends with Egwene being broken. And then like she's just braiding her hair, telling Rena she's going to kill her in the next episode.
She unbroke 5 seconds after that when she heard Megan from next door.
Yeah,
I don't think she could drink water anymore. If like she'd only drink water for that 1 minute span, and then it's over.
It was a quick recovery. That's all I have to say after.
Yeah, from being broken, she's over it.
Yeah, she's over it. Over it. I got my braid.
I mean, I almost feel like that's another. It's another like we have to leave town because the episode's over thing. Like they don't have time for Egwene to be mentally broken for more than a scene.
I think that. I mean, whatever. I hear what you're saying, but I do think in light of the fact that she does murder her in the next episode, like I don't think the show is going to ignore what happened. I think it's going to be like,
I
think it's going to be a part of her character. But you're right. I don't think there's going to be I don't think they need to have a season 3 storyline of her having to rebuild her sense of self-worth.
Right. I would have.
So maybe she's like emotionally broken. Maybe she's emotionally broken in the fact that like Egwene wouldn't have murdered a person before this happened.
Right, but now,
now she will.
Well, I'm okay with her. Well, no, we'll get to that murdering part next week. But they could have played her as most subservient and broken in this episode. Like there was no reason. I don't see why they couldn't do that. And then like she, builds herself up in the next episode because there's a lot going on. You can see that happening.
I will say this. She doesn't become like, we talk about her being broken because she no longer sees this as a weapon, right?
Yeah.
So she's no longer trying to escape. That's the part of her that's broken, I think. Like it's not like she's a whimpering slave, like at the end of the previous episode.
No, I get it. But she went. But I would have liked her to be a little bit more, mellowed out for this episode at least. Like, she's still kind of shaken by everything that's happened. That's all I'm saying. I think they could have held that back for this episode and then played it up in the next episode. That's all. But I mean, it's only like the one scene, so we don't really get much. But there is somebody else in Falm, or they don't start in Falm. They're in Kyrian and get cracked on the head and wake up.
Before we do this, I really kind of think we should get Parrot and the Jets out of the way. Because nothing happens, but we got to talk about it.
What do you want to talk about, Brendan?
I'm just saying, I think we acknowledge that it happened and
move on.
I think the Matt stuff is like there's actual stuff to talk about, and there's not really much to talk about with Perrin.
Well, I figured we'd finish out in Falm, and then we can go to Perrin.
They're in Falm. No, you're right. They're approaching Falm. I take it all back.
They're not in Falm yet. Matt's actually in Falm. Did we ever figure? We don't find out who knocked him out,
No,
right? Like,
I have a note about it.
Yeah.
We never find out. Are we just to assume it was Lanfear since when he wakes up, Lanfear's there? Or
It's a man. It's like a big person.
No, I would not be. I would not be surprised if that is purposely hidden. Like that's a reveal. Like you're gonna find out that somebody that you don't know, like, is the person who did that.
Oh, so that's another dark friend that we don't know somebody who's a dark friend yet.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
guess that's why. Maybe it was Barthanes.
Could have been Barthanes.
He definitely looks like he can knock somebody out if that somebody is a sandwich. Like,
yeah,
he's tall.
Takes a butter knife and just stabs you with it.
yeah.
He is tall, but I feel like this guy was like a little had like a little more heft to him.
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Hard to say.
yeah.
Why didn't Matt get knocked out at the end of the last episode?
Why didn't that?
It just seems seems
instead
so.
of going.
Instead of
at the end
beginning
of
of this episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
the same scene, but at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Because they needed more Matt.
Maybe
in
they
this
couldn't fit it in.
episode. Yeah.
I mean, just time wise,
It's like 30 seconds.
It's not even 30 seconds, probably.
Yeah, like it's odd to not have a.
It's
it would be a cliffhanger if it was like the last time you see him, this happens.
Yeah,
to him,
right.
and then
Because he's
Right.
the last time we see him in the last episode, right? He's looking at Rand. He's like hiding behind crates or whatever, looking at Rand through the cracks. They could have just had him get
Heidi pantomime, by the way.
Yeah, they could have just had someone then hit him on the head right there.
Yeah, I wish. I was just gonna say, I know that will change everything, but it'd be great if he gets knocked out, and that's why he didn't go. Not that he just chose to not go.
Well,
he was gonna go. He's thinking about it, and then he gets knocked out.
But he doesn't go because Min tells him if he goes, Rand's gonna die.
I know,
he is
but
doing
like
it for a good reason. But whatever, we got to that. But we don't know who knocks him out. Maybe somebody will find out next season.
Well, people in chat are suggesting Tomas, but I don't think it's Tomas because after he gets knocked out, we see Tomas with Varen.
Guys, we're never going to find out who knocked him out.
I do think maybe you're right, Brendan, but I do think like it might be a warder, and there's a lot of warders around that we know. Right?
Okay.
There's Tomas. There's I'm blanking on their names, right?
Maxim and Yvonne.
Maxim and Yvonne, right?
And
so it
others,
could be and the rest.
And the damn it.
So Matt wakes up in Falm. Lanfear's there waiting for him. Then later on, Ishamael's there with him, and he's making some tea, and he's getting all emo on Matt. I just love this. I don't know. Go ahead.
This bit with Matt specific, kind of this whole episode, but the parts with Matt specifically. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not necessarily saying this is a bad thing, but I don't think it's a particularly good thing. It feels like I was asleep when I was watching the episode, but not like all the way asleep. Like I was nodding off in front of the TV, and I kept waking up and seeing what was going on in the show, and then falling back asleep for a few minutes and waking up and seeing what was going on. Only I wasn't. I watched the whole thing from the beginning to end, and it's just very disjointed, and there's huge gaps in what, like, the show's always been bad with establishing the relative passage of time between storylines, but it's especially glaring here. Like, and again, it's particularly with the math stuff, and it can be forgiven with the math stuff because a lot of that is hallucinations. But this whole thing, like, Lanfear's there. She says, "Welcome to Falm," and the next thing we see, Ishamael's in the room making tea, and Matt outright says that he's been sitting there for a while, and nothing. Like this guy just came in and started making tea, and this is the first time you're saying anything to him, Matt. What are you doing?
It's admiring the clothes, really. I think that's clearly what it was.
Yeah.
So where'd you get the fit? I still got this bathrobe.
I feel like they were trying to say they had trouble trying to fit what they wanted to say in the scenes, or fit what they wanted to accomplish in the scene. So I have a feeling the scene must have been rewritten like 50 times because they were trying to make it work.
Maybe.
I do think there's a certain like TV shorthand that people use sometimes. Like it does. You're right. Like if you think about it for a second, he would have said like, hello, something, right? Right.
Who are you? What are you doing here? What am I doing here?
But like, there's something in a different context. I was reading something just this morning about how like in the reality of film or television, what you see on the screen is the only reality that exists, which is why you could hide from somebody that's off screen because like off screen doesn't exist. Like even though that person should be able to see you, you have no, like, it doesn't work, right? And so like surprises like that happen a lot in movies and TV shows, and you just believe it. And this is a kind of similar thing. Like nothing happens because this is the start of the scene. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just want you to just go with it, even though it doesn't make logical sense. But you have to make that make more sense. Like the first line should be, "Will you say something?" Like or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I do think this is fun because I didn't think this is where you were gonna go, and I was on a similar in my notes, but like a different thing. Like I feel like they're like, okay, we're here. We're at the point where you have to get all of the storyline that really should have been the whole season for Matt. We're just gonna get it all in the next few scenes, and like this kind of like weird timey like thing, like this, like I said it the first time, like the show wants to get into like the Twin Peaks world here, like with all this stuff, and I do feel like it's bizarre and it's weird and it's unsettling. So I think they succeed in all of that, but I do feel like, man, like we could have spaced this out more in some of the episodes where all Matt did was walk around, you know,
or not appear,
not appear.
And it's just it's like, and I was a little surprised at how frustrated I got, especially since I knew what was going to happen. I've watched this episode already. This is the third time, but like it's enormously frustrating because, like, again, obviously I have no context for Matt outside of the show, but I've watched other fantasy media and read other fantasy stuff before, and like there. Not only is the Matt stuff being done kind of poorly this season, it's being done like incorrectly. This is not how that character it's not how this type of character in this type of story is supposed to behave. And they're not even really undermining or subverting it creatively. It's just kind of like nothing. It's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, well, Han Solo wouldn't drink that tea. They are not supposed to be that kind of guy.
They are subverting the source material hardcore with this because this is all fucking made up. None of this happened.
That's not even what I'm talking. I'm saying, that's not even what I'm talking about.
Well, I think that's maybe part of the reason why, like, they were trying to write their own thing and then fit it into someone else's stuff.
But like, to what end? Like, why did they think we want to watch a sad guy?
Well, like, and to your point, like,
I have the note. Matt's crying again.
Episode 8, Matt. Like, that's the same guy who should be in episode 7. They should be like he should be trying to. Why would he stay in the room? Why wouldn't he climb out the balcony? Why wouldn't he do something? Like, just chill.
Yes.
Right? Like episode 8, Matt is like, oh, you're gonna put me in a room? I'm gonna figure out how to escape. Like, I mean, he was like that.
He was digging a hole in the wall at the White Tower too, so we know that Matt exists.
Right, that's my point, and it's like I agree with you 100%. Like Jen and I have expressed it in different ways because we are looking for a character that we like in the books, but like even within the show itself, it's like this Matt is the character that they do not know how to get right until either they nail him.
And I have a question about
last
that.
Episode.
I have a question about that, right? Because he goes on this tea trip, and you know, Ishamael says like this is basically tea's going to make you see all of your past lives, and you know, basically like who you are, your soul, or whatever, right? And he has this horrible bad trip, right? And is that so? That's him, I guess. So this is very contrasting to what happens in the next episode where he blows the horn and he's like, I remember. So if him blowing the horn is him really remembering, then what Ishamael gave him? Is it just freaking bad acid? Like I don't get it.
Well, you're asking the right people, Joe. Jen, Brendan, and I really know a lot
about the point of it. Like we're kind
to make him think that he's bad somehow.
But is that what Ishamael Ishamael's literally just giving him that because he knows it's going to give him a bad trip?
Maybe that's what he thinks about himself.
Maybe that's why Ishamael is the way he is. He believes the trip.
The truth is that he wasn't like that, or not always. Not always.
I think there's. I actually watched those particular shots a couple of times because there was something that I noticed that I didn't notice last time, specifically that one of Matt's past lives is a lady. But we only see three different versions of Matt. We see one where he hanged himself, we see one where he's drowning somebody, and one where he's stabbing somebody to death. And assuming those are real, which I think we kind of have to because that's what the show is telling us, those could just be three very bad moments from otherwise,
right?
One of them bad and final, from otherwise, if not necessarily purely good, like not terrible existences.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, what's the likelihood of it? He stabs somebody in the next episode. He's not evil then,
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, if I know a lot of people in chat are saying, Ishamael's just lying, like he's doing this, everything he's saying is a lie, which probably is correct. I would have just liked maybe some acknowledgement of it. Maybe when there's like next episode, he has a scene with Lanfear, I think, where they're having a conversation. Like, I don't think he mentions it at all. Like, hey, I gave Matt the tea. He's almost ready.
Tea.
Yeah, he's almost ready to, come to the dark side or something like that. That's why, like, I don't get. If he's lying to Matt, I don't know. I don't feel like they're making it apparent enough.
I know they in the first episode when he has like the introduction to the Dark Friend Social, right? He says one of my names is the father of lies, right? Yeah. There's no reason other than that line, 6 episodes prior, for you to assume that he's lying here without any context for it being a lie. I think more than anything else, like, he's a nihilist. He believes that if given the opportunity,
to Matt, I think he genuinely believes everything he's saying to Matt.
And I think he also generally believes if I could just get the chance to explain to everybody how bad this is, everyone's gonna think like me, and that's what he thinks Matt's gonna do. I think Matt's gonna go on the same kind of shitty trip that I went on, and he's gonna see like this just isn't worth it.
He's just that naive, I guess. Then,
yeah, he's evilly idealistic. Like, he thinks that,
yeah.
But he is. And like, I think the show shows you that he believes in what he's doing. And he thinks that other people will. And he's disappointed when they don't. He's bad, and he believes in worshiping the devil and like having the devil win. But like, he's disappointed when other people don't have that same kind of philosophy.
Dana has that philosophy in season 1, right? She talks about that.
She's bought in.
She's on board for that.
She drank the tea.
Yeah. I noticed the seals in the room when they were in the mirrors. I was like, oh, all the seals are there. Okay, they're going to break soon.
I was like, what if Matt tripped and like knocked over one of the seals?
I guess
it's made of stone.
Yeah,
I don't think
he'd have to go in pretty hard.
It's made of stone made of pure magic.
That's how Ishamael broke.
I don't remember if Quendayar's heavy, to be honest with you. I know it's strong, but I don't know if it's heavy. Sorry.
Somebody
look up the atomic weight of Quendayar.
Sure. We get rid of that for weights and measurements too.
Yeah. So there's that scene. You want to jump over to Perrin and Avienda real quick?
They were in it.
They were in it.
Yeah, they were in it. We meet two other maidens, Bane and Chiad, who are friends of Avienda. Avienda then proceeds to get beaten by them. And we learn later on because there was another one of them and she got killed in battle, I guess presumably with the White Cloaks. Or she got injured in battle, presumably with the White Cloaks, and Avienda believes it's her fault. So this is her paying her obligation to get beat.
Well, she got pretty well killed. They buried her.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But they buried her there, which means she didn't die in the battle.
Yeah, she says like,
yeah,
Bane,
she was alive when
her wound was infected. Bane says her wound got infected and she didn't make
it.
So I assume she got injured and then they, because I was Brendan, I was thinking of this when the scene started and they were like, she's like, where's Jolien? And I was like, if Jolien died, did they just carry her body for days and then just decide to bury her here? But then I was like, no, she must have been injured. And then she said, yeah, they
did choose to bury her there, though. So they might have taken her a little bit of the way.
Well, she was alive.
This was a good spot.
Her wound was infected. So she must have gotten injured. They traveled, and then she must have died nearby, probably.
Yeah. And then she said, like, this looked like a good spot to bury her or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, we learn a little bit more about the Yael culture and honor and obligation and yeah.
And we learn it in the classic fashion of someone explaining it to Perrin.
Yes.
Which is thus far where Perrin shines in this show.
Yeah.
He's there to have things explained to him. He's like a Doctor Who companion. He's
That's spot on.
Would it be better if they were explaining it to Hopper? That would be pretty cool. If they just all talk.
I'm not joking. Like to me so far, that is like Perrin's real value in this show.
Yeah,
his introduction of new factions.
Yes, Perrin meets new cultures that are new to him, and we learn together.
Yeah,
and like by season 8, he has a coherent, if all over the place, philosophy.
Yeah. Anyone want to talk any more about this scene?
No.
All right. No. We're gonna go to this is technically in Cairhien, but it's kind of like its own little story happening within Cairhien, as you know, separate from the bigger one going on. We've got Liandrin visiting the Damodred residence. Anver thinks she's there for Moraine. Liandrin's like, no. Barthanes forces his mom to leave. But what he doesn't know, or they don't know, is that Anver's listening in. Can we talk a little bit more about Anver's hole? There you go. That was from last time.
They get like Liandrin walks into the dining room or whatever, where Anver and Barthanes are sitting, and they have like a brief scene of them meeting. And then I didn't actually keep track of this, but then it feels like they go to every other group of characters and do every other group of character stories. And then it cuts back to Liandrin and Anver and Barthanes, and they are just sitting at the table in silence. Just fucking once, I would like this show to establish how much time has passed in between scenes, because the amount of time that passes in the other scenes suggests that they've just been sitting in silence for like 15 minutes.
I think they were drinking tea, Brendan.
And I don't, maybe, but like,
yeah, mention the sandwich, something.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
This didn't bother me. I didn't mind that. I wasn't thinking about like how much time has passed, but it's probably like a few minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Because she's waiting there for a while, right? Because she's like, oh, I don't know when Moraine's going to be back. Like, if you want to keep waiting or something like that. Right?
Just awkwardly waiting for
like so
without saying anything.
It was also never established why Liandrin's there. Yeah. It's just assumed that she's there waiting for Moraine.
But right, and it's just like, no, I'm not waiting for Moraine. You have to leave. Anver. And Anver's just like, okay. And of course, like she's onto her or onto something, but
yeah, she knows something's going on, and Liandrin says our master wants you basically to off Moraine. And And then she's like, if your mom catches on, get rid of her too.
Terrible.
And then that's what Anver hears. So I'm still not sure, and I know we debated this last time, whether that was actually a real order that was given to Leandrin by whoever Lanfear. I assume it would have been Lanfear, right? Because Lanfear's got the thing against Moraine, but
I think it's a real order because Lanfear just took control of Leandrin.
Yeah. So
we talked about this last time. It's like real order, but like Leandrin was excited about getting to carry it out.
Yeah. I don't think Leandrin needed a ton of convincing to put a hit out on Moraine.
She probably added that kill your mother thing herself, though. Kill your mom, too. So Anver, of course, hears through her listening hole and quickly gets her son imprisoned. Her son, who was going to be king, quickly convinces the queen, who's not even there, and her household that her son is a dark friend, and the queen's future husband is a dark friend, and we need to imprison him.
She has to like book it out of that house to get to the palace or wherever before him, so she could like tell the guard what he's going to ask and set up the whole thing.
Well, she uses probably like her eyes and ears or whatever to.
I mean, like based on what we know of the Dae'mar family and Carian society, just the relatively little amount of time that the show has spent there and spent on it, I imagine that every major house in the city has like, in case of betrayal, break glass plans.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's just like a scroll in a box, like, okay, this is what you do.
Right.
You go to this guard, you send this,
Yeah.
Right. And
you get these guards who have halberds that look like rifles, but definitely aren't.
It looks like they're about to shoot him through the door.
100% looks like a fire squad. They walk in and it looks,
To add fuel to this time fire, right? It's established in this episode that the queen is not in Cairhien right now.
And they have to cast her.
Listen. So Anver hears that the plans, figures out that her son's a dark friend, sends word to the queen, gets word back, and then arranges for him to.
No.
She says, "I spoke to the queen."
No, she doesn't. He says,
She
you can't tell the queen, you can't tell anyone. She says, I already have. So it's like, it's in motion. She told the queen, she told people at the palace. People know. That's all she means. I don't think she means that she specifically spoke to the queen, personally.
No, I don't think she spoke to her personally. I think she sent word to the queen.
Well, she might have sent word to her, but I don't know if she got word back. Like, she could have sent word.
This could be
like
really
it's out there
on there when the queen comes back. She could be
she definitely sent word to the queen because Barthanes says, don't tell the queen. Anver says, I already have, or I already did, or however exactly she puts it. But I really don't think we're meant to think that the queen said to imprison Barthanes.
I don't think
that was 100% on.
So you're saying she just sent a letter and then acted.
Yeah.
And then
so she sent the letter to the queen, got the queen's guard to go against the future king.
He's not the king yet.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think like
the guards would friend?
Yeah, but you got to convince these guards that their
she said probably said like your
future husband is a dark friend.
My son is going to ask to have Moraine brought here or whatever. That
you don't even say that. I heard him as all you do is bear witness and say, yes, he's a dark friend. I heard him plot to do these terrible things. We can't let him near the queen.
Yeah.
It is her son.
Also, you don't have to you don't have to convince guards.
They want to guard.
You just got to tell the guards what to do.
Yeah,
but if this is like if like
she's a noblewoman.
Right.
This is like if like a captain of the police said the guy who's marrying his boss's daughter is a criminal. Just by word, and then they lock him up.
But it's not the same thing.
Oh, okay, we'll lock him up.
But like to Brendan's point, yes, that's allowed here. She's a noblewoman. She's the head of the house. He's not, even though he's about to marry.
But they're not in the house. They're in the palace.
But she's the highest ranking person.
If they were in their own house, I would get it. That's 100%, right? Those are soldiers who are loyal to her. But these are the queen's soldiers.
My point is that like she's the highest ranking member of the Damodred household, right? She's the head of it still.
Yeah.
When he becomes king, that changes. But right now, like, even if they gave conflicting orders,
that's true.
This is a higher ranking person.
Yeah, I just think the fact that he's marrying the queen, there would be some pause, and the guards would be like, "Well, wait a second, did the queen? I'm not doing anything without the queen's order."
Well, I think it's two things. One, if she can convince, all she has to do is convince them that the queen's in danger, and they're going to be okay in protecting her. And two, like, this is also Carrie Ann. Great, this guy isn't going to become the king. Maybe then somebody else can become the king.
And also, they're just locking him up.
Well, I don't know. It looks like they were about to kill him.
I don't think they were.
No, they weren't.
I think it looks like that, but they're just guarding the door. Yeah. So obviously, honestly, they could just like figure it out later.
Okay.
Like, sure, I'll lock this guy up.
I don't know. I thought it was just a quick. It was very reactionary for me. Should we jump to the rest?
He was. I mean, also let's be fair to Anver here. He was about to kill her. Like,
yes.
Oh no, I'm not saying she should.
Time was of the essence.
I'm not saying she shouldn't have done what she did. I'm just saying it was interesting. I thought it was a little unbelievable that she was able to convince the queen's household to lock the future king up like very quickly without the queen being there. Like, I understand if the queen was there and the queen gave the order, but whatever. You want to talk about the rest of Carrie Ann? What's going on there? We get a time check. Right, Moraine and Swan, when they have their first conversation, she mentions 6 months of letters.
Yeah.
Which basically, don't we get like a 6-month thing at the very beginning of the season?
I thought it was like 6 months for season 1, and then 6 months between season 1 and now.
If it's
and the beginning of season 2.
If it's really been 6 months of letters, then the first episode happened yesterday.
No,
because they established that 6 months have passed since the end of season 1.
Season 1 takes a little over 6 months.
Oh,
right?
So
season 1 takes a little over 6 months.
I think she's rounding.
Yes, it's not
exactly 6 months.
I was just saying
it's a figurative 6 months.
I was just
about around 6 months.
Yeah. Swan wants to meet Rand. Rand's outside waiting to meet Swan. We get a nice little interaction between Lan and Rand. I really like this interaction. This is the first interaction the two of them have where like it's not like Lan ready to kill him.
Yeah. Right. This is the first time he gives him any sense of like and I don't even say respect, but not utter disgust.
Yeah. Which is nice. I like this. I like the two of them together having a nice little scene like this where Lan's not being very standoffish.
Rand gets his third cool jacket while Matt has yet to change his pants.
Yeah.
In a year plus.
Yeah. Another cool jacket for Rand.
They stand up on their own now. Those pants.
Lan gives him his advice, whatever comes, face it on your feet, which
like Matt's pants.
Like 5 seconds later, he's which in a few minutes, Rand is going to be up on his knees.
Well, that's payoff for next week's episode too. So
yeah, we get, and then Rand does some sword forms. Lan's like, "Oh, you've been learning the sword. Oh, okay.
I see you know Neffy Spoon.
Yeah, it's good. You're not going to use it in the rest of the season. Well, wait. Here's a move. Hold up the sword, point it at someone, and walk at them. Lan should have showed him that move because that comes in handy later on.
The best move.
The best move. So then we get a Rand and Swan scene. She lays down some truth on him about what the Tower Law says about the Dragon Reborn, that they're supposed to be caged and shielded and used as a weapon when the last battle comes.
Disconcertingly similar to what the Shanjan do to the
yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, very, very much.
Stop bringing up the Shanjan, Brendan.
Yeah, no, Brendan.
We're not so different, you and I.
Rand tries to channel, Swan shields him, and then gets all upset that Moraine hasn't taught him anything. I don't know what the hell Moraine was supposed to teach him.
I guess she thought she shouldn't have let him go by himself. Even though, yes, Moraine wouldn't have been able to teach him anything, really. But
yeah. Did you notice when Rand says, right, when he's channeling, he says right before he gets shielded, he says, "I won't live in your cage." I don't know if it was me, but did it sound like there was like they did something with his voice when he said that? It sounded like there was like somebody also speaking on top of him, like saying the same thing, but kind of like in a lower voice. I don't know.
Not that I noticed, no.
I have to listen to it with my headphones on because I thought it almost sounded like they put some sort of effect on there or something like that. But I guess that was just me.
He's the Muad'Dib. He's using the voice.
Yeah, maybe he was. But it didn't work because he got shielded and was kneeling on the floor like a little baby.
It hurts.
We get, so these kind of go out of order because they're cutting back and forth and there's all kinds of conversations involved with Lan and Moiraine and Swan and Rand. Though while Rand is with Swan, Moiraine and Lan do show up, right? Swan's like, forget everything we planned, Moiraine, and we're working on the last 20 years. I'm
calling audible.
Yeah, calling an audible. Yeah. We're going to declare him now and just shield him and stash him away.
We're about to get caught, so we're going by the book.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Is that what it is? You think she's worried about her political station? She might
there's
impeached.
I think there's a lot going on in everything that is in all the various exchanges between Moiraine and Swan, and relatively little of it actually has to do with Rand as a person or the Dragon Reborn as a concept. And this is just like, this is a weird way to put it, but this is all about their relationship, and this is just how they're having it out now.
So they're like, they're such a high level and so much above everybody else that when they get into fights, they use the fate of the world as part of their paw,
kind of, yeah,
to get back at each other.
Yeah.
So you think Swan's upset with Moiraine, and that's why she's calling this audible purely out of spite?
Maybe. Yeah, well, she said Moiraine didn't do what she was supposed to do.
Yeah. I wouldn't say spite, but
after knowing that, go ahead. Sorry.
She's doing it in part because I think she's doing it at least in part because she knows it's not what Moiraine wants to do.
Yeah, I mean,
our lives were ruined by this thing, and you didn't hold up your end of the bargain.
But she just has a conversation with her beforehand about not knowing that she was stilled, and she's really empathetic towards that. That doesn't count, but then that doesn't count for anything. Once she meets Rand and she's like, "Oh, Moiraine hasn't taught you anything." It's like you were just talking, you were just kind of coddling her about being shielded or stilled. Like, and then she's putting this all on Moiraine after Moiraine was stilled. Like in that whole conversation. I don't know. It just seemed like a huge flip-flop.
Well, as all four of us has been married to our respective spouses for a long time, we all know that every disagreement you have with your long-term partner is rooted in logic and rationality. So you're right.
And only about the thing that is happening right now.
Only about the thing that's happening right now.
That part is true. So where are we going? Sorry. So I did want to talk about they lock both of them up, I guess. So I don't know if Moraine's technically locked up, is she?
Yeah, I don't really get that.
They're locked up, but they're in like an alcove. They're not.
They're in a room without a door.
She's just like staying with him, basically. They're not. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think she's locked up.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying, because I thought
she might be under house arrest.
I thought there was.
I don't think she wants to leave Rand.
Yeah, I thought somebody said somewhere that Moiraine was locked up in the palace.
I think Leandrin says that.
Oh yes, she says it to Barthanes, right?
Yeah, but I don't. I mean,
that's.
Lyanna is guarding them, but really Rand.
Right.
Like, there's no indication that Moiraine can't leave whenever she wants. Because again, it's literally just they're in a hallway.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
I know we talked about this last time, but they also just say whatever they want right in front of her. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, she's definitely
they're already
listening
caught.
to them.
Like, they're already.
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
They don't mention land.
Like about
fear
land fear?
They don't mention land fear.
They don't think this.
He doesn't say it. It's very like surreptitious. I think, right? Doesn't he say something like they want me to go to Falm or something? I don't think he mentions her name.
All right.
Or says Forsaken, but I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't think he does.
Before we get to that, though,
and then he just goes to sleep.
It's been a day.
Before we get to that, there's a scene between. There's a good scene between Moiraine and Lan, where Rand's prodding and asking questions about Moraine's, like asking if she ever wanted to kill herself, basically, right? And he's kind of smiles when she says she didn't, because that's what he thought. He's got his whole theory, which proves to be right at the end of this episode. He doesn't think she's stilled.
So she thinks that
he's read the Tower records. I don't know when that happened either.
Yeah.
He says, I've read the Tower records. When? Like, you weren't researching this before the show started, were you? Like, I don't get it.
Well, he's at the White Tower, and the next time you see him, he's not. But
he's not at the White Tower. He never gets.
They're right outside. They're right outside. They're right outside Tar Valon when they part ways. And the next time you see him, they're not. But it doesn't mean they don't go there first.
I don't think they go there because he's with Alana.
Yeah,
I know.
He's with Alana going to they go to Alana's house.
I understand that.
You think they go to the White Tower first and just hang
you can
out
say, like, hey, I have to go to the tower and get something. And, like, you don't need to know that until now when you know it.
I don't think that's ever established at all.
No, but I would say this.
In there.
Like, if you see a character in one location, right? And the next time you see him, he's at a different location. And then later on, you're like, I went to that first location and I read something. Like, to me, that, I don't know, like, you don't need to see him do that because you don't need to know that he's doing that until now.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
What is the thing that he knows? That only two people have not killed themselves?
He's read up about stilling and what it does because he doesn't think that she's stilled. Right? That's basically whatever it is, and that's what he finds out. That, like, there's things that, like, stilled people go through, and she's not going through that. Like, it is still, like...
I was going to say, there's a really nice library in Carian that he could have read.
We were like a detective episode here.
Yes.
It was really surprising to me the first time watching this that we get more detective show here in episode 7. I wasn't expecting
with Lan of all people, too.
That's it.
And it's very procedural. Like, he goes to talk to...
Yes, it's cop show stuff, yeah. Cop show detectives, yeah.
I think it's funny, though, that, like, Moiraine thinks that her like, emotional strength about, like, supporting Rand and being there for him, like, supersedes the you know, wanting to kill herself. Meanwhile, it's just like, no, you don't want to kill yourself because you're not actually still.
Also, she's not really supporting Rand over these last 6 months. She's not there with him.
No, well,
but
she's
interacting
putting
with him.
all the pieces in motion for him.
She sent Logan there.
Well, she's doing all the people.
She's getting him to go there.
Right, and you, like, again, early in the season, right, people are coming to her and she's sending them out. You see the last person's bailed Dae'mar, and she finds out. She finds out now there's a reason for her to act because somebody else is free or whatever. But, like, it looks like she's isolated herself and is trying to pull the strings from a distance. Once again, proving Brendan's theory that she is the one who probably should have stayed in the tower.
Yeah, makes sense there.
And Swan should have gone out and found Rand and immediately started teaching him how to channel, like she does as soon as she encounters him. Telling you, over on Earth too, everything's fine.
Lan tries to pass on a lesson learned in the last episode where he tells Moiraine, you know, you can't do everything. You can't do it all yourself. Which is what Lan comes to realize when he reveals to Alana and Maxim and Yvonne that, you know, what's been going on. So it's a nice little pass it along story. But anyway, while Rand is being held captive or shielded by Lyanna, right, him and Moiraine do have the conversation. And basically the plan is, I think, right, for Rand to go into the dream world. Lanfear just, I guess, chills out there and waits there in her outfit on that throne in the desert for Rand.
She could probably sense that he's there. Yeah. She probably has like a trigger that goes off or something when he goes in.
So Google alert for him.
Yeah. got GPS on him. So she's there, and they have a little banter back and forth. He's like, "Can you help me?" And she's like, "Okay."
She is sitting. You mentioned her throne.
Yeah.
Her throne, which the back of which is a wheel.
Yeah.
Because she is a Batman 66 villain.
Yeah, she is.
And has themed props and sets to match the gimmick of the show.
Right. She got a henchman named like Moon and Crescent.
Magnificent. 2 thumbs up. A million stars.
So Lanfear agrees to help him. She appears in Kyrian, who's blowing shit up. Which is kind of cool, I guess.
I want to go back 1 second. I forgot about this. How does Leane hold a shield on Rand by herself if
magic?
Like 2 people barely hold a shield on Logain? Is it because he doesn't know what he's doing?
Rand doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't think he's
like
that
way
strong
more
yet.
powerful than
Rand's also not struggling. Rand's not really fighting back. Logain was trying to get out. Rand's too lawful good to try to escape.
And
and also
like, more experienced than him too.
Yeah,
and like not to get into, but like Logain's plan was to exhaust them. Like not to get too much into he was doing that on purpose so that they would be tired and not able to defend themselves when his soldiers came.
Yeah, he was buying time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense. But yeah, Jen, I thought of that too. But yeah, I mean, Rand clearly is he's powerful, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. So,
if only he had been trained, Moraine.
Yeah,
tried.
If it hasn't been done already, I really hope that at some point, someone with a completely different creative skill set than mine recuts Lanfear's rampage to Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." Even if it's just to start it off with the "Let's Go Girls," and then she starts blowing shit up, and just costume changes. There's choreography. It's oh my god, it's so good.
I think
how many people die in that to get Rand out of that cell?
As many as had to.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, this is like we talked about this last time too. Like the action of Rand seeking Lanfear's help to get him out of there, and Moraine's just kind of like, okay.
But then he like looks when they get out. He looks outside like he's horrified by what he's.
Well, he did. He's like,
I'm like, what do you think she was gonna do? Be really nice about it? Knock on the door?
That's what I'm saying.
Forsaken.
He's playing a dangerous game with Lanfear there, and yeah, basically he's like
what have I done?
He's responsible for all those people dying.
Yes,
and he doesn't really seem to care at all.
Well, he cares for like a split second, and then it's over.
Yeah, sure.
Look, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few hundred.
I don't think he's thinking about that at that time, to be honest with you. He's not. You think I need to save the world?
Yes. I think 100% he's thinking. I mean, he's thinking about I don't want to be captured.
Yes.
But he's also
I don't want to become a puppet of the White Tower.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I think he instinctively, intuitively, whether he's right or not, knows to himself that this is not the right way to do it. And then this is doom.
We get so Lan continues his detective journey and goes with Logain. Goes to visit Logain with Alana and Maxim. Maxim gives us a little conversation about the last battle. Lan asks
hair and a knife.
Yes. And Lan asks Logain if he sees any like male weaves on Moraine, because that's
the best.
Lan's tracking this down. He's got it. He
does. First of all, I made a note about this. Lan and Logain meeting feels like it should be a bigger deal than it is. Like it's not. Like, it's an important scene, but like there's no. I don't know. I mean, and partially it's because Logain is pretty neutered at this point. But it just feels like they should be. Logain was a real big threat last season, and
I mean, he almost
Now he's-
died. He almost killed
Yeah.
Lan.
Right. And there's nothing really there. And
well, he's
Tom-
angry about
Tom's-
Stepin. He clearly has.
That's true.
He's got a very short fuse with Logain. Once Logain just starts giving him starts fucking around with him, he's like all business.
Yeah, and I will say this:
that's true.
as opposed to the writer saying, "Hey, look, time's running out. We got to wrap this up." Like Lan, the character, actually feels like I
that's
can't
true.
stay here too long, and I just need what I need out of you. So, but you're right. I do think maybe the next time, if there is a next time, there's more meat to it, right?
Yeah, and we find out that Moraine is
Yeah.
shielded, right? Just as Lan
And also-
suspected all along.
Also, Tom alluded to it, but if you're just listening, you wouldn't see it. Logain grabbing his bathrobe to illustrate what the weaves look like and how they're tied off is the fucking craziest anyone's ever looked on screen. It's so good.
So good.
It really
It's
is.
just like,
It's completely deranged.
Yeah,
Just great.
It was a good little scene.
more Logain, please. More crazy Logain.
Just
So how did Moraine not come across this information
Or Varen. Well, I guess
about
maybe
tying off weaves in any of the books that she was reading?
I don't.
Okay,
Was Moraine actually looking into that,
no,
or was she looking into?
No, but
So
think about it this way: this is such a death sentence, and the most personal, you do not talk about this. It's so devastating and personal, right? To a person, she's not gonna look and it's hopeless for her, and her dwelling on it in any more than she already is all the time is in her mind a path to suicide. And in Varen's mind, it's well, this girl, I can't talk to her about it. She's gonna kill herself any day. So they wouldn't think to look for hope.
I almost think they might have been better served to just have it established and everyone know that she's shielded and tied off, but the only way she doesn't know how to undo it. And that's the season that's trying to figure out how to.
I hear you, but
But it also gives
Lan
Lan something to do.
But he
And
doesn't
I
need
think-
anything to do. He could be helping her figure this out, and he could do a few things. She could send him on a few errands, maybe to do for her.
that doesn't work on a TV show where he's the number 2 build person.
But
You
it
can't.
could be good errands,
I mean, you're kind of saying we could win this football game if we moved the field indoors and made the ball round and orange and raised the goalpost 10 feet in the air. Yeah, they could have done that, but it would be a totally different thing. It would be
Right.
completely 100%
No, I know.
Like, you said
That's
with
what I'm
face,
getting at.
No,
it would be
I
totally
actually-
different and make more sense.
Okay. This is what Joe's alluding to, Brendan. I'll explain it because it's not like a spoiler. In the books, they know everyone knows that you can tie shields off. It's not a piece of lost knowledge, right? It's just something I love the fact that this is an example of the Forsaken, the Chosen, know things that nobody else knows, right?
Well, yeah,
And
that could be fine, but I mean, that I get that because you need that whole journey of her getting the shield removed. You can still have all that journey. I just think the whole part of Lan figuring it out just annoys the fuck out of me.
I don't mind it. I really don't mind it at all. I think that I said this the first time, so I don't want to go too into it, but I do think as much as it peters, it's very repetitive in the first half of the season because it's just a lot of Lan taking abuse, and not coping with it well.
Yeah, they could have cut a lot of that out too. That would have been great. Put in other stuff.
But Lan's journey in this season, where he starts to where he finishes, his emotional journey, his knowledge journey, is one of the better things of this season. He gets to a point where he is the person that he's supposed to be.
Is it?
And where he is at emotionally is she's supposed to need me. Why isn't she treating me the way that I need to be treated?
I know.
And then his end is, wait, she needs me. I'm supposed to be there for her. even if that's not what she like. I have to do things that.
I just don't think they needed all of that. That's what I'm saying.
I got you. I just that's something where it's like that really is something where it's like, well, in the books, like it's not the books, it's the show. You need to have, he's you need to give him something to do.
Yeah,
that's not like
they could give him something else to do. Is what I'm saying.
No.
You don't have to give him focus an entire season on nonsense.
You don't need to give him
the whole show is focused on Moraine and Lan. That's the show that we're watching.
You don't need to give him an action show. You need to give him the actor things to do. He's the second build person on the show.
Let's just shut the podcast down.
Right.
That's what the show is.
What you're saying, like you're saying I wish this show was a show that it's not. Not I wish the show that we watched was different.
I'm asking if they did this storyline differently. That's what I'm asking for. I'm not asking.
No, you're not. You're asking if they didn't do this storyline and did another one.
Yeah.
All right.
With Lan not doing anything.
No, I didn't say Lan not doing anything. I said Lan does other stuff, but it's not. There's not this focus.
But there's no emotional journey.
There's no emotional journey.
But that's Lan in the book where there's 1,000 other people doing shit.
So you want it to be
and
like
he's
the
not
Mandalorian?
The second character.
I don't know. I've never
the
seen
Mandalorian, where like every week it's just Lan goes on a different adventure to find something for Moraine, and then comes back and then goes on another one.
That would have been pretty cool, actually, Brendan.
I mean, that's a different story.
That's a different show.
No, just Lan's story. Everyone else does similar things to what they do. I'm not saying change the entire show. I'm saying change what Moraine and Lan did this season.
Like they're not the only main characters, but
it's not like there's nobody else there's nothing to fill. Like they'd have to.
But Lan is a character
to fill the gaps of that
beyond just being a warder to Moraine in the beginning, which is like what he does mostly, just following Moraine around and doing whatever.
Yeah,
this is different. He's like a full emotional character,
right? Who like, and I
know
think
he is,
that,
and I'm saying they should have changed that.
Okay.
Well, okay,
then we can't argue this.
I actually, when Brendan's gone, I want to talk a little bit more about this in a different context.
I don't really want to, but
all right,
if you want to.
Okay.
Oh God, what happens? Oh, so Varen comes and cleverly says no words that are untrue, to get Lyanna to leave Rand, pass the shield over to Rand, so she can then, release the shield and help them escape. I like this scene. Good. I like the wording. Very careful.
Yes.
I had like a weird journey myself with this scene, because I was thinking, if the Aes Sedai are so committed to saying things that are technically true but still using it to deceive each other, then Lyanna should be a lot more suspicious of what Varen is saying. But then if that was the case, they would have to be literally suspicious of each other all the time, always, everything anybody says.
Yeah, it's more
that's no way to live.
They don't really I don't think they do that to each other as much as they do it to non-Aes Sedai people.
I think I think
Okay.
yes, I think that's probably why she's not suspicious. Like, there's like, normally if you hear an Aes Sedai say something that sounds like, well, that's lockdown. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Varen's not anybody that like if it was Liandrin or somebody on Liandrin's faction, I'm sure she would have thought twice or thought really long and hard about leaving there. But I think the fact that it was Varen, who's, an Aes Sedai in good standing, I guess, so she knows and somewhat trusts.
Right. I mean, she's retired. She's out in the country. She's not part of any of these games.
And she's like, she's a brown Aja who are literally just like librarians and want to know everything and thirsty for knowledge. They don't really scheme at all. They're not like schemers like the Blue are. So I think it's she's just not expecting Varen to trick her at all.
Clearly.
Yeah. But Varen does. Varen tricks her. Clever girl. So she winds up going with Swan, who is with the rest of the Aes Sedai. There are only 8 there, by the way, so I don't know where the other 5 are.
Brendan knows.
Brendan knows who they are. She makes a rainstorm. They put out the water. Leanna shows up, and Swan's like, "Oh, nope, she tricked you."
Leanna's mad.
Leanna is mad.
Leanna is mad.
She's very angry.
Son of a pig.
And then Swan's like, "All right, I got to get out of here." And then we get the scene where Rand removes the shield from Moraine.
Did you guys notice that he pulled from the fire and the earth? Did we talk about this last time?
I think we did last time.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember that.
I
was like,
remember fire at
Look
least.
at him go. How does he know how to do that?
I don't know.
He's got the moves.
It just happens.
Lan helped him.
He's got the touch.
That's why
He's
Lan
got the
helps.
power.
That's right.
Lan helps him pull from.
Yeah, Lan
from
is
the fire
guiding
and
him,
the-
isn't he? Isn't he like kind of giving him words of encouragement
What?
I mean, he's telling
About
them,
learning how to do weaves?
about the what's it called? He's like,
He says
You're
you
not
have to cut it.
yeah, he's like,
But he
you're not
doesn't
going to
telling
be
him
able
the
to
mechanics
untie
of
it.
what to do.
You have to cut it. Like,
Right. But the
How does he
girls
know any of
learned how
that?
to pull elements from different things. And
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, got it. Got that.
Yeah.
Just totally figured it out on my
Well,
own.
we talked about this last time. Like, that's what Lan's like, I'm not going to teach you anything. You've got it. You got it.
oh, is that what he meant? You got it? You're good?
Like, I gave you the keys to the car. You can figure out how to drive it, buddy.
Okay.
All right.
Try not to vomit again.
I mean, I remember at least, I don't remember if it was all of you, but I think it was at least Jen and Joe had a problem with this last time about Lan telling Rand how to do it and what to do. And it didn't bother me then, and it didn't bother me this time. Like,
No, I
Lan-
wouldn't suspect it would bother
Lan-
just viewers. Yeah.
Lan, the sword guy, said, "Hey, cut it,"
Right.
and he did.
Right.
Like,
There's a nod. I know how you get rid of those.
he Alexander the Great's it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a big. It's fine.
No, that's what I'm saying. For non-book readers, totally fine.
Well,
Book
that's
readers,
who the show's
not as
for.
fine. Yes. I know. I'm just saying. Lan apologizes to Moraine. I still don't. Yeah. Why are you apologizing, Lan? You shouldn't be apologizing.
Well, because he was almost
I mean,
he was in his feelings instead of figuring this shit out 6 months ago.
But
He
it's,
also very specifically says what he's apologizing to her for. He
No,
says,
I
"I'm
know.
sorry it took so long for you to figure this out."
yeah,
Yeah.
but again, he shouldn't. He would never know this. Like, he would never be able to figure this out on his own. First of all,
Joe,
rude.
that is the point we were making earlier.
Yes.
That is his journey. Is like he has to.
I
Like,
know
grow beyond
it's
what
his
he
journey, and
is.
I dislike it. I dislike this
All
whole
right,
journey, especially in this episode. Don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. It's odd to me. I understand you don't like it. It's odd that you present it as a plot hole. It's not a plot hole.
Yeah.
It's what happens in this show. Like,
He doesn't owe her an apology.
That's an opinion.
yes, he does.
I don't think he does.
Yes, he does. He fails her. Not that he didn't figure this out earlier. That's not what he fails her. He fails her because instead of giving a shit about her, he's giving a shit about himself for the whole first portion of this season. Like, he's not
I don't
doing
get that.
what he needs to do to help her. He's saying, why isn't she treating me the same way that she used to? She's gone through this terrible thing, but what about me? And that's what he's really apologizing for. Because once he got his head on straight, he was able to figure out what.
He's trying to help her the wole season.
No, but
She
he's
won't
trying
let
to.
him. She's pushing him away.
Yes, but he's trying to help her be what, he's trying to help her because he wants to be what he was, and he has to realize he has to do something different now, and that's what he like.
But that's not
once
his
he got
fault.
out of his.
It's not his fault that he. It's not something he should apologize for. I don't think he should.
Are you seriously Are you seriously, Joe, telling me you've never apologized for something that wasn't your fault, just to move on?
Yeah, maybe that's a problem, fault of mine. But
Oh, actually, yeah.
No!
Not once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joe would never do that. That's actually
Well.
true. Yeah. I think
I think we've gotten to the bottom of it.
no, that's true. I bumped into somebody, and and I actually, said, "Oh, I'm sorry."
There you go.
Into you. So it's like
I'm
that,
sorry.
right?
Yes, that's it. There we go.
Okay, then I'm okay with it. Swan arrives.
He's just Canadian. Yeah.
Swan arrives and just, I don't know, if not reneging on the whole plan that they had for 20 years ago about the Dragon Reborn wasn't enough for Swan, she forcibly makes Moraine do something that Moraine doesn't want to do.
Worst.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
She crossed the line. She knows it. Yeah. And then
Lanfear practically tap dances into the scene.
She does. Knocks Swan almost unconscious.
She almost, I don't know what she does to Swan. She can't even move.
Wrecks her shit.
Do you guys think it's the irony of how this episode ends with Lan following Lanfear when we had the whole conversation about Alana and Maxim thinking that Lan was like with Lanfear. Oh, yeah. And now he is.
That never even occurred to me.
Yes, and he is at the end of this.
Sure.
He's fine with it.
Because no, they even have like a shot of just him looking back at like, I think at Swan or whatever, and then just like walking through, like following Lanfear.
I love also how fast Lanfear opens the way gate.
Yes.
It's like
yeah.
There's no drama to it at all.
They do a really good job of like putting in those little things like that to just show you how much more advanced and powerful like Lanfear and Ashamael are than these Aes Sedai, who, and some of them you're like think are really powerful, and you're like, oh no, not really. Here's Lanfear.
Yeah. I mean, like Moraine like rips down buildings and fights. She's very powerful, but like it's just a different thing.
It still takes her a while to open the way gate.
Yeah.
I like how they use those things like that to kind of give you the perspective of like, and they do a really good job of that. I'm thankful for that. So, they don't really talk about how powerful people are except Nynaeve. She's the only one we know. So that's how this episode ends.
The end of this episode has a very, very strange cut.
Oh yeah.
The music cut. It sounds like it's cutting to like a commercial too early. The music just like stops. It's very weird.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I didn't notice.
I remember talking about it last time too. I don't know why. Just like a weird edit.
So
the episode's over, and I can't wait for next week when we find out what happens with Leandrin and Anver and Lyanna and Baron and Maxim
Swan
and Alana and Yvonne and Swan and all these important characters who've been appearing all throughout the season. With very complex and interesting storylines. Yeah,
I was gonna say we know now. Obviously, right? We're not gonna see Swan in the rest of the season,
or any of the other people that Brendan mentioned.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're. Alana's storyline is just like she kind of helps Moraine out and shows up every once in a while to help her. From so far, like that's her main story.
And doing it.
She's doing it and doing it and doing it well.
Yeah, a lot of doing it.
Definitely doing it.
So Swan, sorry, good.
No, I was good. Go ahead. I was going to ask a question.
No, it was just a note I had that we sort of skipped over the scene when they're going to the Waygate and they run into Alana and Maxim and not. Whichever. Yeah. It struck me as like because Alana has been like the main supporting character throughout the show, kind of.
Right.
And it's the first time she met Rand, and it just felt weird. Like it just felt like, oh, these two should have had a scene together before, but obviously they didn't. And like I understand why they didn't. It's just because they were such a major, they have been such a major role in the show, and that's all.
That's going to happen. I think a lot. We're going to start realizing, like I think we had that this season where people, who hadn't met, and you're like, oh wait, these people have been in the show for a while, and the two of them have never met. Right. That's going to continue on through the show, I think, because there's so many characters and probably ones who never meet. But then like maybe meet after a long time.
Rand, Matt, these are my sexy desert ninjas.
Yes. Yes. And here's a guy who likes to yell out 2 rivers. You haven't met him, Rand or Matt. Yeah, so this is the end. Any thoughts on Brendan, Maureen, and Swan? Is this an irreparable tear in their relationship? Or will they ever get back together?
Oh, I mean, I said it a bunch when we first talked about the season. I think Swan is probably going to die.
Okay.
I think at some point in the next season, she's getting Julius Caesared. I do not think we're going to see Swan and Maureen together again. I'm always wrong about this stuff, but I think Swan is pretty well screwed.
You heard it here, people. Do we want to give our ratings?
Sure.
Sure.
Anyone want to go first? I'll go first then.
No. Yeah.
Although this has some of the scenes that I dislike the most in the entire season, I do think it's a fun episode. There's a lot going on, so it's like not it moves and there's a lot of stuff going on, so it's entertaining in that way. So I'll give it 3 stars. Probably my least favorite episode of the entire season.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously, I think anyone who's listening knows this. I kind of disagree about a lot of stuff you don't like in this episode. I think this is while I thought there was already an episode that was the all original episode of the show. This was the episode that was the all originalist, perhaps. So, but I really like it. I thought it was very well done. I thought the beginning and ending of this episode is a level of writing craftsmanship that we haven't yet seen on the show. I think, at least in my mind,
the writing was good. You're right. The writing was good. That's why I feel like the writing was good. The acting was good. I didn't like the content of some of obviously of but yeah, quality. Yeah.
I think like the show has done foreshadowing before, or like setting things up before, but either usually messes up the setup or messes up the payoff, and I don't think they did either here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
I am going to give it 4.25 stars. I like it a lot. I like the more characters that get together. Like I always like that best. So I like that everyone was kind of in Kyrian or Fawn. I like like Loya meeting Elaine and Nynaeve, and then like everyone helping Rand and Moraine escape. I like scenes like that. And again, like the writing, the arcs were good in this. So 4.25.
4.25. Okay. Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. I said that I thought everything about last week's episode was well done, and I didn't like any of it. This is the opposite. I thought, with the exception of the scenes specifically with Moraine and Swan, which, as Tom said, it was some of the most well written parts of the show, and I sort of I mentioned something about that earlier. Aside from those scenes, which is really only like 3 scenes. Mm-hmm. Out of what feels like a million scenes in this episode. I think the rest of the episode is kind of a mess, but it's such a fun mess that it's like it's the opposite of last week. Last week I thought was good and I didn't like it. This week I thought was a mess and I loved it. So I'm also giving it a 4. It's got a lot of problems, but I don't care.
All right. Well, we've got one more episode, Brendan. So,
yes.
Then you can not have to talk about the show for another few months.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. That's it. It does look like we're gonna have you back. We're thinking in the not too distant future.
The spring, maybe. Early spring?
End of winter, beginning of spring, we're thinking.
Yeah, so.
And nothing's announced yet, but that's it. Joe, do you want to mention that we might do about next episode?
Well, we're not done with the episode, right?
Okay.
It's true.
I'm just saying.
We're not done with this episode, yeah.
All right.
Bye,
All
Brendan.
right, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
And we're back for our spoiler-filled second part of the episode. I can't believe we've already been talking for this long.
I know.
These are flying by, and we're going on and on. I don't know.
So
I
you
guess
had a lot too.
I do, and I'm not even going to bring all this up because I know I brought some of the stuff up there last time. So I'll just talk specifically, I guess, about a couple of things. Like, I mean, we've had this conversation before, but I guess Logain can just still see Weaves, even though he's gentled. I guess we're just accepting that's the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the way it works here. That's it. Like it just is. That's it. That's just the way it works here.
There's also a line in there where somebody says that even like the Forsaken couldn't. Oh, when Lan's saying that you're shielded, you're not stilled. Like she said, even one of the Forsaken can do it alone. That's not true.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what he thinks.
Yeah. Well, but he also thinks the other stuff, and it's all right. So, I don't know if that's him just not knowing what he's saying, or it's actually something that's true in this version of the story. So, yeah. I mean, we talked last time about Swan potentially attacking Lan. Like, how does she do that with the O's? But I don't know. I think we just kind of.
Well, she thinks they're liars. Because Maureen said she was still, and now she just saw her channel. So maybe in her head they could be dark friends.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about last time. I think, right?
Right. It the Forsaken's in here helping them escape. There's enough circumstantial evidence.
Yeah. Something I don't think I ever mentioned last time was. And I don't remember this, so maybe you guys can help me out. Like in that scene with Egwene where she's, practicing, and she's clearly more powerful than the other Dae'mar, and she's clearly more powerful than, I guess, any Dae'mar that they've seen, at least those people have seen, because it's kind of such a spectacle. But aren't there, like, not a lot, but there are other Seanchan Dae'mar who are just as powerful, or if not more, than Egwene, right? That, like...
Not many. There's Aliva who's more powerful than Nynaeve.
Yeah,
but like,
I feel like there's a few Dae'mar like who are not named, but we find out that like, oh, these Dae'mar are powerful,
maybe a few, but you got to remember, like, even as the series goes on and like more very high level channelers like are found, Egwene's still one of the stronger people. She's just not Forsaken level strength. So I think more than anything else, this is supposed to show you that like Nynaeve is here, and you thought Egwene was here, but Egwene's like there. Like she's a lot more powerful than the audience was led to believe. She's
the most powerful channeler in 600 years.
100 years,
800 years.
Right.
But also she can channel right now, so she's better than Nynaeve.
Yes, also yes.
She's got Nynaeve there.
She's learned burn tree weaves.
Yeah. I'm just looking. I was thinking about
steam press weaves. Yeah.
During the Nynaeve and Elaine scenes, I was thinking about next season, and we'll probably get them and Tenchiko together, and how much fun that's going to be.
It was very hard for me when Brendan was hitting on things that are going to be happening.
Yeah.
In the next, I'm like, shut up.
Jen, you almost blew something there when you mentioned Tomas being the one who knocked Matt out.
I didn't say that he was I'm just saying that he was a guy that...
No, I know. I'm just saying, I was like...
Well, that's why
we were talking about warders and stuff.
Yeah, I think, we covered it. Like, that's one of the three warders, the names.
Yeah.
That aren't Lan.
I don't think he thought anything of.
I know. I was just, it was close.
Brendan also thinks every single person there is a dark friend. So...
That is true. So...
not that far off.
Do either of you have any additional spoilery type stuff?
No, actually, no. The one thing, the argument that you didn't want to continue. That's it.
There's no spoilers in that, so.
I just had was Lan. We talked about this already, though. Like, or did Lanfear send Varen in there to get him out?
Oh yeah. I think we debated that too. That's still. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
But also, like, Varen was looking for the Waygate before
Right.
Rand asked Lanfear to help. So was she looking for the Waygate for Moraine? And then
Yes, I
it's
think
all just like fell into place together, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think Varen is anticipating like what Moraine and Rand are going to need, which is maybe a way out very quickly. Like,
yes, I 100% agree with that.
yeah, and that's very akin to I think Book Varen is like she's just much more aware of what people's plans and plots are than the people give her credit for,
Yeah.
and she's preparing to help those who need help.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if we do find. I mean, if in the show when we find out Varen's a dark friend, I don't think they're gonna flash all the way back to like season 2 things that she did.
No, I don't think they don't need to do flashbacks. I think they just like the show is going to do enough things like they did here, where it's like, oh no, that actually isn't just that. Like, because we talked about this the first time. I don't want to get into it, but like, she's probably just lying there. Like, that's a real stretch to kind of say that that's what she says to Lyanna.
Yeah,
I
think so,
it's the
too.
truth.
So
And
now
like,
she's lying, and she has to make it seem like she's not lying.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So I think the show's going to give you enough of that you go back and go, oh, right.
Yeah, but I don't know. You can twist it. I think that she's not lying, and I know we talked about a lot about that last time.
This is very similar to the Moraine sent me. Right in the Great Hunt.
That's just false. Moraine didn't send her. Here she doesn't.
Yeah,
say
but like
anything.
people were like, well, you know, from a certain point of view, Moraine, because Moraine brought her into the mission.
Those people were idiots. There was no way you could.
Did you?
twist
Let me
that
tell
into
you.
there.
Let me. You read the Great Hunt, and you went. She's a dark friend.
No, I didn't pick up on it that she lied. I just missed it.
Right. Right. Well, that's it.
Like
That's what I'm saying. That's what this is for show viewers.
But
this is not like.
Oh, this is their version of it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have been nice if they put a lie in there though that we don't know is a lie yet though.
Yeah, maybe they did. Who knows? Maybe you find out. Aldeus.
Well, yeah, we don't know who's been right. There's the one thing we don't know in what she says is one of the things she says is I've been told to watch the boy.
Right.
But I mean, does Moraine ever tell her like earlier in the season like we need to keep an eye on him?
No.
Like we don't know who told her that, or
right,
or she's
What if
lying. Or she's just lying.
What if Adelaus is Grendel?
She does like
Awesome.
kind of act a little bit like
I
Grendel,
know.
right? Yeah.
It's right there. It's there for you.
I'm picturing Grendel appearing at some point on a chaise.
Yeah.
Never know.
I don't know. It'll be fun. Hopefully, we'll see her next season.
Yeah, I hope so.
Shall we wrap things up here?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord. Have some chats with some really cool people on Discord. Continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on our YouTube page, so be sure to go there and like and subscribe, rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information are included in the show notes to this episode. Final thoughts, Jen and Tom?
The Yankees are still winning right now, but it's the top of the 8th, 6-5. So
Oh, geez, it was 6-2 the last I checked, so
Yeah.
that's not great.
yeah, not good. But they got out of a bad bottom of the 7th, and now they're in the top of the 8th. As you can see, I've been 100% paying attention to this podcast the entire time.
Because she listens every week, I'm sure. I just want to say happy birthday to my wife, Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Happy birthday. Yeah, by the time
Her birthday's tomorrow, so yeah.
No, I was thinking of I
Back
was
to
going
the
back. I was going back to the Yankees. By
Sorry.
next week's episode, we'll know what's going to be going on in the World
Probably.
Series.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not 100%, but next week's episode for us. Yes,
Next week's
I think
episode,
that's when this
yes.
episode came out.
Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.